This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Oh, and man, up next, we got the Legion of Doom and the Orient Express. Boy, this is probably going to go poorly for the Orient Express. And here they come. I love their music, though. Let's play a little bit.
Orient Express into the squared circle. That's Kato on the left, Tanaka on the right. Standing by right now, Mean Gene. He's with the Legion of Doom.
All right, we're just moments away from a test that will determine just how Japanese imports stack up against these American products. The Legion of Doom. Animal?
Listen, Mean Gene. We're sick of all
I like when their haircuts are interchangeable, though.
No, I like it. It's like they plug into each other. And how about Mean Gene saying right here, too, these Japanese imports are going to be taking on these American-made products. We're really doubling down on nationality here. I love this era of LOD. We've talked about it before. I know a lot of people who listen to the show think that Demolition was a ripoff. I always thought these guys were a ripoff because I was a WWF kid and I grew up on Demolition. But then other people hate this cartoonish presentation of the LOD. They prefer the old black shoulder pads and chrome spikes. I kind of like the red ones with the black spikes. What about you? You're old school. Did you have a preference one way or the other?
Yeah, I like these because they're more colorful, but they had these when they worked before they came to us. They had these in NWA, didn't they?
No.
Well, they had different colored ones. They had silver ones and different shit. They did have different colored spikes.
Yeah, they definitely tried a chrome pair for sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously when they went back to WCW, they would even try some blue ones. But this set right here, man, that's one of the things I kind of regret. I wish I would have been able to get a set of those. That would have been cool. So let's talk about the Orient Express. Really great tag team. Of course, Pat Tanaka had some interchangeable tag opponents at different times. Did you prefer the Paul Diamond version or not so much?
I thought that as far as work goes, I thought the Paul Diamond pairing here was better than the Sato because Sato was on the other side of his career at that point. I don't think that Sato really had that many bumps left in him. So I thought that Paul coming in really helped this team, and Paul and Pat just really worked great together.
This match is going to go 5 minutes and 11 seconds. Meltzer would say for what it was, this was a very good one-sided match. The Orients took one great bump after another in this fast-paced but not very competitive match. The only real offense, which was short-lived, came after Mr. Fuji threw salt in Animal's eyes. Kato seems to have been eating his vitamins as he's a lot larger than before. Finish saw Hawk pin Kato after the clothesline off the top, and it is a spectacular looking bump. 3 1/4 stars. The Orient Express in this era were having some badass matches, man. We just talked about the match with the Rockers at the Royal Rumble. I mean, they were a pretty underrated tag team. Wouldn't you agree?
They were the guys that you could put in a match with pretty much anybody and know that at the end of the day that it was going to be one of the show stealers on the card. Again, Pat and Paul both worked their asses off, and Pat Tanaka was just a human highlight reel with everything that he did during those days. And Pat, even at this point in his career, was a great teacher and someone that could explain psychology and help guys with their work and why they do certain things. Pat Tanaka, to me, highly underrated.
Totally agree. One of the more unsung heroes of wrestling barefoot too. Well,
because in Japan, you got to go barefoot, toughen up your feet. Everybody knows that.
Oh, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Hey, so after all this push you've given Tugboat over the last year, of course, the whole, let's write the Hulkster some happy notes and make him feel good campaign. And now even here in primetime TV, he's not even on the WrestleMania 7 card. I just feel bad for Tugboat.
You do?
I do, because it's like, man, he was supposed to have some plans and now he ain't got shit.
Well, you know what, Conrad? Sometimes it happens. Yeah. Have you ever had that where you had high hopes for someone coming into the office that was going to be $1 million producer, and then they just went?
Well, but that wasn't Tugboat's fault. It was a shit character.
It wasn't their fault either.
Okay, cool. Hey, so Bob Costas pulling out. Do you remember that being anything worth even discussing? I mean, Regis Philbin's still there. Willie Nelson's still there. You still got celebrities, but when he pulls out, does it even warrant a conversation?
Not really, because again, no one else really did. And there were actually people coming forward that wanted to do stuff. So, I've always gotten along with Bob. But Bob can be, and I've learned this after, many years, Bob can be a little holier than thou sometimes,
really?
But he's always been extremely nice to me.
Let's talk a little bit about NBC, because they have a guy named Paul Mcguire who is allegedly going to be participating at WrestleMania 7 because you're experimenting with instant replay. I realize that sounds kind of hokey and silly in hindsight, but to add context to this, instant replay was becoming a thing in sports, and it was a rather controversial thing. Do we trust the referee's call as we always have and keep with tradition, or do we utilize some of this technology? And we're about to see the big salt spot, and not too long after that, we'll see the finish. Anyway, Meltzer would write, NBC's Paul Mcguire is still going to be at WrestleMania 7. And there's a mention of something that's an NBC spokesperson that I think is going to make you happy. Here's what's written. Quote, I don't understand why people are suddenly up in arms, an NBC spokesperson said of Mcguire's involvement. Quote, people have to understand the atmosphere this is all perpetuated in. They should know it's nothing but entertainment. I won't justify the way the WWF is promoting WrestleMania 7, but pro wrestling has always made fun of blacks, Arabs, women, and rednecks, to name a few. So they're saying, it starts like, come on guys, it's fantasy. But then it finishes with, hey, they shit on everything. I just thought that took a hard right turn. Did it not?
Well, yeah. And I completely disagree completely with the last sentence.
Of course.
That's the media elite.
Let me mention too, we've got a whole episode on WrestleMania 7 available in the archives over at somethingtowrestle.com. And we're about to see one hell of a bump here. Do you remember anybody in the company not wanting to take this I'm sure nobody wanted to take the finish, but it became like a heated issue whether or not they were going to take the old Doomsday device.
No, not that I can think of. I mean, it was the only guys that I know that ever got hurt was Henry Godwin. There may have been others, but for the most part, Mike and Joe took pretty good care of everybody. At least tried to.
It just looked.
Oh, it looked
devastating.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd much rather take that than Warriors Clothesline.
Also in this article we dug up, it said that there were plans for Roseanne to appear at WrestleMania 7. For whatever reason, that didn't materialize. Was it ever discussed, or is this all rumor and innuendo?
There were never any plans. I know it was discussed, but by the time that we got there, I don't know if Tom Arnold was with her yet or not, but she was kind of a little outspoken, a little flaky.
Let's talk about the match we just saw. Sterling Pingree says Chris Jericho has called LOD's match here with the Orient Express on this show the greatest squash match in history. What say you?
I thought it was a hell of a match. I didn't look at it as a squash match. I thought it was one hell of a match with two great teams.
Craig Como says, how sore was the Orient Express after their match with LOD? Holy shit. It looked like LOD just beat the hell out of them.
Well, that's a sign of two great workers in Paul Diamond and Pat Tanaka. You make it look great, guys.
Steve Hates Wrestling says, what's the story with replacing Sato with Kato in the Orient Express? Do you remember how that came to be?
Yeah, Sato was retiring, didn't want to work anymore.
Kevin Dern says, Legion of Doom was featured heavily here. Was there talk of having them win the titles at WrestleMania 7? A match against the Hearts would have been amazing.
I think that, the plan always was to eventually get the championships on Legion of Doom.
Why not Mania though? Because as it was, the Hearts had like a couple second squash against the Bolsheviks, I think.
I don't think that, and you know what? I don't know that match would have been that good.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.